I mean, beautiful, juicy strawberries. Of course, that makes us think of summer. We are going to paint these adorable strawberries on a bookmark today. I just thought a bookmark would be the sweetest little gift to give somebody, maybe gifting somebody a journal or a book they've been wanting to read, and just tuck this in there, maybe with some words of encouragement or some scripture, whatever fits the occasion. And for our supplies today, we're going to keep it simple like we always do. And starting with our watercolors, whichever watercolors you have. I used red, of course, and I've got yellow, green, orange, and I used some brown mixed in with the green to make more of an olive green. I used a size 10 round brush. I've got my bookmark that I just cut from a piece of watercolor paper. The optional pen detail at the end with the micron size 3 and a white gel pen. And then I've got just regular Scotch tape that I used to tape down the bookmark, also optional. You'll see that it does leave somewhat of a border, but not as much as if we would have it like a solid background. So you can choose to tape it down or paint all the way to the edges. So like I said, I just started with watercolor paper, 6 by 9 inches. And I've got this handy dandy paper cutter, but if you don't have that, you just grab your scissors and cut it the old fashioned way. I measured mine to be 2 inches in width, so 2 by 6 is what this ends up being. And I thought that was a nice size. I started with 1 at first, and that just, or 1.5, and that just wasn't enough. So like I said, I just used regular old Scotch tape, taped it down. I tried to keep the borders, somewhat consistent, but it's just not that big of a deal. I'm going to go ahead and pencil in my strawberries. And the way you're going to do this, or the way I do this, is I do kind of like a loose heart shape. So I'm doing just like the top of the heart, not doing any pointiness at all. And then at the bottom, bringing it down, of course, not a point at the bottom either. So, and as you can see, I'm just doing them at different angles, and a couple of them cutting off of the page. Starting off with a little orange at the bottom of the strawberry, just because, the tips and the tops of the strawberries are often a little lighter in color. You could also use yellow, because as we put our red paint in there and it mixes with the yellow, obviously, red and yellow make orange. So either way you'd like to do that. Bringing our red in and not worrying at all if they blend together. In fact, we want them to blend together. Not being overly careful. You can see that I am kind of just dabbing in little bits of red. I am going to leave a little spot that's going to have more white showing through at the end, you'll see. But I'm just mimicking sort of like seeds, spots for different for seeds that we will put in later. Um, Being a little more careful around the edges just to maintain the shape of the strawberry. Bringing that red down into the orange a little bit more. I put that orange on there a little light and wasn't liking how that looked. So dabbing in more red dots, and you can see I'm kind of leaving a little bit of a space there, which will get filled in. It's not going to be totally white, you'll see. And also, after I do this first strawberry, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up, because I don't think you need to see me dabbing in 5 strawberries. I think you get the idea. So again, like I said, outlining the strawberry a little more carefully just to keep the shape. And I did put a little bit more orange at the top. Um, it's not super noticeable at the end, but it does add just a little color variation, which I think adds interest and makes it a little more realistic. Although, if you've watched any of my videos, realism is never my goal. I love whimsical art. I like to be able to tell what it is that I'm painting, but I want it to be lighthearted and fun. So just continuing to add some red in here and fill in the white. I don't want too much white showing here, but you can see that I'm going to fill in that white spot And it will look more like a reflection at the end, I promise you. Filling in sort of the left side of the strawberry there to make maybe a little bit of a shadow. And I didn't like how light that orange was, so I'm coming in with a little more orange and just dabbing it in there just to help it not stand out as much as it was. I didn't like how that was looking. But you can play with this as much as you like until it looks the way you'd like. So filling in, obviously I've sped up the video here. If you're painting along with me, go ahead and pause it until you get all of your strawberries finished. I just think it'd be really boring if I played this at full speed or regular speed all the way through. So doing the same technique with all, starting with orange, laying in the red, and then dabbing it in, a little more orange at the top, dabbing in all those little red seed areas. We're going to add more seeds too with yellow here in a little bit. And this little touch-ups here, I'm darkening up the red because I don't want them to be so pink. I wanted them to be more saturated, red, luscious, yummy color. I'm coming in now with my green for the leaves, and I'm just doing a very basic kind of triangular but curved leaves, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just watch what I'm doing. You could also make them little jagged leaves because you know how strawberry leaves are. So being very, not being very precise with this, but I went ahead and added some brown to my green and just adding a little color variation, some shadows, shading, just adding a little more interest to those leaves. I did have to lift some of the color in that one strawberry because it was just too much water. As you can see, I have yellow on my brush now. So I'm going to come in here. Everything is dry at this point. I'm going to come in here and just dab in little strawberry seeds. I'm just putting the yellow where the red already is. I'm not going to put any yellow in the white spots. But yeah, you can see, or if you can't, you'll see in a little bit when I bring it closer to the camera, that the yellow just, again, adds more life to the strawberry and a little more interest and dimension and realism. I always hesitate when I say realism because it's never my goal, but again, we want it to look like a strawberry. So adding those in and coming back with red also to fill in some of the white spots that I just thought got too white. So there we go, just playing with that until it looks the way I want it to look. And there you go. This could be a great stopping point if you'd like it to be. We're going to go ahead and remove the tape and see what you think. And you'll see how there's sort of a hint of a border, but since it's all white in the background, but you can see where the paint up in the right corner bled under the tape a little bit, which is not a big deal, but it was a big enough deal that I kind of fixed it in a little bit here. Again, you could stop right here and you could be done. However, sometimes there are people like me who can't leave well enough alone. So I am breaking out my Micron size 3 pen because I love adding ink at the end of my paintings. Some people start with ink and then fill in. I love ending with it, and I'm pretty scribbly with it, as you'll see when I bring it closer to the camera again. And I don't try to be careful around the red. In fact, I like to leave some white showing as if, you know, it's just carefree, like, hey, look how loose I am. But in reality, sometimes I get a little bit rigid in my wanting to fix this and that. But I think it makes it more playful and I love it. And so just to give you a closer look by just adding the black ink, you can see how I was not careful. And I love the look. It's so whimsical and playful and carefree. I just love it. Again, great stopping point if you so choose. However, I love my white gel pen, and so I'm going to grab her And I'm just gonna fill in that little spot that bled under the tape because it was bothering me that much. So, and I didn't fix it all the way. You can still see it, it's just less noticeable. And now I'm just adding highlights into the leaves. I'm not gonna do anything else with the strawberry itself, but I love the effect that it gives with the leaves, adding the highlights. And just play with that until, again, you like how it looks. And here you go, a little bit of a closer look with the black and the white. Isn't that so cute? Do you see what it added? And I know some people do not like the pen. Now, that little strawberry at the bottom, I just want one more leaf. One more leaf, and I'm not even going to add paint to it. I just think it needed a little something. You know how it is, you're going to stop, but then you're like, ooh, one more thing. See? Isn't that so much better? Yes, it is so much better, and I'm going to sleep better tonight now. There you have it. I am finished for real this time. And I hope that if you enjoyed this one, that you'll hit subscribe so you can be notified when we upload the next Summer Fun series. And I hope this is a sweet gift that you can give someone you love. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time.